Today is July 23rd, 2026. I told you yesterday was another, oh my God. Okay. Within the last 2 months, those people showed up. Melissa had those drug dealers drug you up and tell you to say that. So when she went for custody of the kids, she wanted to make sure you couldn't help John. She didn't want a person like you raising her kids. Some big guy walked up and said, Officer Mark made a big mistake letting Melissa go. Okay. Well, yesterday, on July 22nd, 2026, in Myers and Alliance, people were talking about that. We all heard those people admit. Melissa had those people, had those drug dealers drug you up and tell you to say that so you couldn't help John when she went to take custody of the kids. She didn't want a person like you raising her kids. Okay? There were some idiots in there. Now I want you to think how dumb they are. That psychiatrist says she don't act right. She's not afraid of them. I don't have a psychiatrist, and why would I be afraid of you? For everything you did, what is a jail sentence? Usually federal crimes. You're one of the top 10 stupidest criminals in the world. I don't have a psychiatrist. And one can't hire you to follow and harass me. And they can't even put their opinion on my life. I didn't sign consent for treatment, and I was never treated. And they're not my doctor. And more likely it's just Henry Moffey again, that Pete guy, pretending to be a doctor. It's that bad. Get the idea? The prostitute's dad, Agent John's girlfriend's dad. Why would I be afraid of you? You're the criminals. You're the one that broke the law. Okay? We go over to Bob Evans and Alliance. These people come in and sit right behind me and Carl. So, his daughter Audrey shows up. So I start going over things. You want to bother me? You're going to get an earful. You'll learn to leave me alone. All right? So, I start going over things of who that Henry Mafia is. I found out who they are. Okay? And about that girl showing up in the restaurant cackling that everybody's stealing for her. And it's her family doing this. And they're doing it because they're calling her a faker. Stealing everything for her. And the drug dealers they hired to do it to her. Taped her in the shower, washing herself, Photoshop out in the other room. To make fun of her. I said, I told you I called the FBI. They opened a real case. And you know who was in that restaurant? Sheriffs. Plain clothes. I told her, I said, I have at least one officer around me. It's going to be a local officer, sheriff, state patrol, U.S. Marshal, or a federal agent. Everything has to be documented and verified every day for the FBI case. And I said, I found out it's that agent's girlfriend. And that Henry Moffey is her dad, the guy they call Pete. The one that bragged that he's pulling a fast one on the FBI and stealing everything for himself. The girl that was cackling is his daughter, and they called her a prostitute. I said, none of this is funny. I said, you know how we were talking about where they used hypnotic drugs on me, where they cause sleepwalking. Hypnotic drugs cause chemically sleepwalking. You're wide awake. No memory. The dangers of using them. You can talk, walk, drive a car, cook, eat, drink, have sex, and never remember anything. The dangers of using them. And I said, remember when you told us you'd watch that thing on the cartel? And that they'd load up syringes and then go to big raves and parties and stab those kids? She's like, yeah, I do. And that they cause sleepwalking? Yeah. So I go over, like my neighbor Mike getting drugged, didn't know what happened to him the whole night. U.S. Marshals kid getting drugged twice, moved out of the area for safety. My co-worker Dar. And I said, these people last year where the case first started, they tried to tell people they had sodium pentothal reports. And then mind-controlling drugs. And I said, they showed up at Faith Family Church in front of 3,000 people. Okay? And how they could control anybody for 4 to 6 hours. Breaking their crimes. Okay? I said last year they admitted to using hypnotic drugs. And I told her how, I had a real bad metal taste in my mouth and I was sick. And I thought it was an orange well water I was showering in. And that I'd take a shower and I'd, dry off, get in bed. Next morning, have bruises, throwing up, severely infected. And I thought it was a well water. And I said that, or I'd wake up some morning and I'd be fine. I'd go out and work, come in, wash my hands, make a sandwich. I had a 2-liter Diet Coke, pour a glass, go in and use the bathroom, wash my hands better, go out and sit down, take a drink in the room, would go dizzy and black. Those people laughed at me. She didn't remember being stabbed in the hallway. And I thought, why wouldn't I think of being stabbed? And I said, but we have big bees' nest not too far from the house in the ground. Then several out in the woods. We were always getting bees in there. I said, you wouldn't think of a drug dealer hiding in your home, would you? She's like, no. So you're walking through the hallway, you feel an ouch. You look around, what are you looking for? I was looking for bees. And here they break, they were hiding behind doors, reaching out, stabbing me real quick and ducking back. She said she had seen this one thing where they did it like an assassination on somebody. He was on a bus and they reached down underneath the seat, jabbed him in the leg with a toxin. And where he's, ouch, start looking around for something bit him or stung him. And ended up dead because they got him with a toxin. And you wouldn't think somebody injected you. I told her, I said, years ago, I said, I could have almost starved to death. I said, I wasn't working there for a little while. And my wonderful, sweet neighbors, I would go over there and they'd give me a sandwich. I said, I lost so much weight because I didn't have any food. See, in June 23rd to July 4th of 21, I had went down to my sister's. Now I'm going to tell you this part. I didn't tell her this part, but I went down to my sister's. The drug cartel followed me. I went in at a gas station and the people's phones are going off, and that weird Eric that made fun of everybody for falling for it is conning everybody. I go back to my sister's, people, and I'm setting out my car. People are walking by calling me names. The woman that laid her life down to save her family helped the FBI and the government get thousands of drug dealers, saved hundreds of people, while I lived through horror. Almost died. People are calling me bad names because a drug dealer lied to them. I lost it. I started swearing. Screamed out, "You don't believe I'm innocent? Call the Massillon police." I yelled out their number. Street went quiet. This guy yelled out, "They said they're documenting me games to pretend she had never hurt anyone." I left the next day. Well, I had resigned from my work. I got back the next day and my boss hired me back. Well, the client that I was working with said, "I can't have her around me. I'm scared of these people. They are showing up in stores and admitting they drugged her and told her to say it before. And I'm scared of them." Because the drug cartel was in Louisville. Okay? Well, then I got laid off till I got another client. Takes weeks to start. I barely had enough money for my rent, my car payment. And I'd go out for walks. And Jim and Brian, I'd stop in and they'd be sitting out in the garage. And Jim would look at me, "You look really thin anymore, Karen. Have you ate? I'm okay. You go make yourself a bologna sandwich. And a glass of pop, you hear me?" And then how Brian said, "Well, I'm going to Dairy Queen." "Well, I don't have any money. I don't want anything." And he comes back with a banana split. I hadn't ate all day. I said, "Oh, I could never eat this." He said, "Well, eat what you can," because I hadn't ate all day. He said, "I'll be back down in a minute." He was back down in 2 or 3 minutes. I looked up and he's like, "Oh my goodness, the whole thing's gone." I said, "I'm so sorry, I didn't realize it. I was so hungry." He said, "I'm glad I didn't try to take a bite. You would have bit my hand off." He started chuckling at me because I ate the whole thing in less than 3 minutes. I was starving at times. I was wearing a 3.5 at that time, and they were too big. Now I want you to think of a prostitute laughing she's stealing my money, where the person that laid their life down, lived through that horror, is starving. While a prostitute's laughing she's stealing my money. Not very funny, is it? And she's the one that had those drug dealers put me through the horror. That's how not funny it is. All right. Well, we go over like Henry Moffey showing up, how, like in the first case, I had an Instagram account, got those weird messages, "Hi, I think you're beautiful," something about love on the beach, something else. I don't know. I go out to stores, people are showing up saying that they're drug traders, human traffickers from Florida, work for Judge Peters. And then they talk about that Henry Moffey. Well, you walk outside, you watch them get in their vehicles. And at times you see those bad vehicles driving by, and there was a guy that looked like that picture. I thought, this is weird. What does he have to do with it? And I told her about January 19th, 2026. Coming in to Bob Evans in Fairlawn. And said she acts like a big kid. Dancing around the car with her husband. Officers work the case. Only watch her because they feel sorry for her. Thought there's a quarter and they like me. And he said, and I'm the one that sent her those messages online. I'm looking at them. Thought you look like the picture, but thinner. He said, with those messages, I prove she was cheating. That's not me cheating. I don't know you. You're a weirdo. And he said, I taught all men she's not good enough for another man. I thought, he said, and I'm glad I never met her in person. I thought, fuck you, you're as ugly as a horse's ass and you wouldn't have got a pity date. Okay? And she's laughing. And he said, I found out the other Michelle's telling us for what we're actually doing, but they can't use it. You just confessed, you idiot. Where the other Michelle was dating an agent on a ruse. Told him March 27th, 25, that the doctor from before was not one of hers, worse for them, and they had lied he was one of her doctors. And when they bashed in her head, they tried to kill her, leave her incompetent, and it didn't work. Soon as she told him, he broke up with her. He also got out of Dave that another girlfriend from before me made him marry me to get a job at my dad's factory so she'd have free insurance. And that he was letting her use my insurance. Half my medical records are hers. And then out of that family that was telling everybody it offended him, that Strange called me a faker, that they were all lying to the FBI to help these people get away with it. Okay? I said the next day, on January 20th, 26th at Belden, Officer Mark and the guys show up. We told you she don't know what's going on. The guy admitted he never met her in person. Well, people showed up, and they said at different places that that's that guy, Pete, that was supposed to be doing this. And he admitted he never met her in person. And he was even telling people he was a doctor from before. There's a big problem when it comes out that he's that agent's prostitute girlfriend's father messed up in drugs. There's a big problem. Get an idea. When his girlfriend, the prostitute, is claiming they're stealing everything for her. Okay? And I told her, I said, that guy said on the 19th, that Henry Moffey said, I got a judge's friend, I'll enter all my tapes in court without the FBI while they're busy with Minnesota. I'll turn all the cases money over me, I'll pull a fast one, steal all the cases money for myself and be long gone, pull a fast one on the FBI. I thought, over my dead body. I said, I wrote the White House. Carl started laughing and said, you actually did. I said, I have run a lot of other people. I don't know him, and he's not stealing my money. Well, we went over some other things and talking. Okay? I had to go use the bathroom. The people that came in and sat behind us, I went to use the bathroom. That guy said, no, this is funny. He said, I listened to her. She almost starved to death. She's barely making it. He said, and I found out, did you hear her? She wrote the White House. Look at all those cars driving by. Do you realize who's in those vehicles? Or, yep. He said, I heard what those people said in Myers across the street before we came over here. That Melissa had those drug dealers they hired drug her up and tell her to say that so she couldn't help John when she went for custody. Because she didn't want a person like her raising her kids. She had it done to her. You tell everyone, not to say a word to her. And that lady that's supposed to have a list of people that want money out of this, saying they're offended, so they deserve money. You tell everybody on that list they don't want no money, and to take them off, they'll end up in jail for putting their money on that list. I know. It's a setup for them to go to jail for this. Well, there was another set of guys in there. Said, I never want to talk to Melissa ever again. I heard what those people said in Myers of her having those drug dealers drug her up and tell her to say that. So she couldn't help John when he went to go for custody because she didn't want a person like her raising her kids. And her running around all up, acting all upset and asking everybody to help. Oh, yeah. When you find out she was working with people, the drug dealers, and them telling them to tell the kids a lie. Kids were taped saying that they made everything up. They were games of pretend because they wanted the prostitute to get the house. It's really not funny. Mm-hmm. The guy said, well, they already said they were keeping her drugged up there till she couldn't put enough, realize what was going on. He said, you tell everybody never to say a word to her again. He said, and I never want to talk to that Melissa ever again. I want to know, what is wrong with you? Why would you fall for that girl scamming you? Come on now. Come on. I mean, some common sense. We need a little bit of common sense here where they've made fools out of you. Absolute fools. Fools out of you. Her running around acting upset. Why is she acting like Chicken Little? Did she take her kids to the hospital? No. Was there any injuries? No. Was there treatment? No. Was the police called? No. Was there physical evidence? No. Prosecution? No. Why? Because they were sitting around laughing, making it up to scare me into giving up my house. They're documenting me jokes. And so she's running around playing you guys like fools? Yeah. Now, if you have the login of the case, right before Thanksgiving and after, and on Thanksgiving, those kids get tapes saying, what? They made everything up. They were games of pretend, sick shit. They wanted Auntie Shell and Puppo to get the house. John totally defended me that no one could say anything bad about me. Dave even defended me within a few days. Okay? And two guys that said they worked for a drug lord, Melissa was willing to help them get away with it by having the kids lie. And that they told her what to say to them. And then the cops and the feds she wants to pull something shitty with the drug dealers, called her out in Walmart. They already know they sold the login. That they were only having those kids make up that shit to try to scare me into giving up my house. That Melissa's so stupid, she made everything up when you were fishing with Dave. She's that stupid, she didn't check where you were. And Officer Mark saying, I hate to rest, Melissa, our kids are little. I just read it up, they were showing off for Dave and his new girlfriend. Document them in games of pretend. Okay? You would know that. That and the police and the FBI saying that my whole family spoke highly of me. So, why would you help out that? Because there needs to be a little common sense. You can't just say something. Just run around saying stuff. So today, I didn't start posting things online until 21. These people, within the first month or two of the case came up, Will found another way of making money off the case. He's selling the login for $25 a pop. 19 and in 21, it was clear in other states. It's online. They're sending out emails now, I found out. Okay? Went viral. Teenagers have it, little as 5-year-olds. Older people, nurses, doctors, truck drivers. If you don't have it, teachers, it's rare. Okay? People got to watch real terrorism like a reality show. It was real life. Okay? So where M13, it's on Google, has been live streaming protected custody cases. Well, they started mine in 18. That Will guy sold it to the cartels. Okay? And the police and the FBI know they've been live streaming this. I didn't start putting up things on till 21. They started their hate crime again then. And then reconfessing how they framed me. Okay? And you don't have to live through a hate crime. I have, for years, on a drug scam. And to get people to stop my videos, and where I upload it to that Facebook account, what do I put? Times, dates, witnesses, people that have the case. You just pull it up yourself. Laws that stop everything and realize they're being scammed. You know what that does? It gives me a little peace. Like these people said, they realize that the people that they're fooling, they realize they're being fooled, they stop. And then they get a whole bunch of new people they fool, and then they can find out they're being fooled, and then they stop. They have to keep playing different people. Okay? So my videos, putting common sense to a scam of stop falling for a drug cartel scam. Okay? 8/9/21. I used to live on North Chapel in Louisville. There's a brick apartment building before mine. The second one close to the fence, there was a lady and little girls lived there. They were outside saying Dave was part of having me drugged and told to say it before. 4 or 5 neighbors got together. There was a police officer over there in plain clothes with a badge around his neck and a clipboard. And 4 or 5 neighbors did a police report. 1295, Fairlawn, little white lady screamed at him because they were breaking in town how they framed me. Okay? She screamed at him. She talked to several people. Okay? So I started fighting back in 21. If they're going to live stream all the horror of what these people did, even sold the rape and torture to 5-year-olds. I used to cry and choke on my tears till I throw up. I started smoking again because I couldn't handle. So funny they raped her. It's so funny they drugged her and told her to say it before. It's so funny they raped her. Out of 5-year-olds' mouths. Shouldn't even know what that word means. Teenagers. Seeing the horror. We all know what happened. It was 3 guys in your room. We all seen them. Nobody called for help either. For what, a fucking prostitute? I mean, I want you people to start thinking about this. Today, I took my grandson to counseling. I had a really bad headache. I walked out to get Tylenol. Of course, there's an idiot waiting outside to yell something. Again, even after yesterday. They turned in a tape of Weird with Yourself. Well, what did Agent John's girlfriend say? It was the drug dealers in my home, and they photoshopped washing in the shower in the other room to make me look weird with myself. And they did it on purpose to make fun of me. There's drug dealers in my home. So we're going to even put it this way. Now we're going to put a little common sense to this. Where that stupid idiot, again, the ones the police allow to break in people's homes and watch them unaware and do things, you're a fucking retard. What is a jail sentence for the police allowing anybody break in your home, set up button cameras, watching you without your knowledge or consent? 5 to 20 years. Without the kiddie porn, drug confessions, and being raped under drugs. It's life. To go to jail as an accessory. There's no police up there that let you. You're a liar. What's the jail sentence for a federal agent letting them? Same. Like it said, right under the color of the law. No one can take your rights away. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life with statements agree to protect someone in a court order. It's police and Fourth Amendment Constitution. President Nixon lost his presidency because he had an office bugged. The president couldn't do it. See how much the cartel is scamming you. See, that's where that agent, there's a real big problem. There's a real big problem with a lot of this. I told you it's still up there, FBI. Okay? An offer to counteract what Agent John did. That I was willing to stay up there for them to surveillance me, knowing I was risking my life and personal harm and injury. I was still willing to stay there while they surveillance me so they could get the people threatening my life and others and harming other people. Knowing the agency would pay me and compensate me for any injuries. Knowing that Agent John does not have the authority to ask anybody to stay quiet. It's the First Amendment, freedom of speech, and he was only bullying me. And that the agency would take care of it. Sign that, they pay me and compensate me. It takes me from a victim that was defrauded to a willing, knowledgeable worker. Otherwise, the way Agent John is going, he's trying to get the surveillance thrown out so the cartel relax. Oh, and that's where, these people, anytime anybody calls in, Agent John tells everyone not to believe her. You're a twit. I'm reporting him. There's a real FBI case with real police surveillance. And everything's been documented and verified by the police. That's where that lady said, where I put it up on Facebook. They do realize when they open the case where the sheriff's been working it. State Patrol, U.S. Marshals. You open that case where they sell it online. 2020, some girl in Louisville, I got the case, starts going through her phone. None of this is funny. She was found innocent of everything. 18 honey. I want you to think about that. How not funny this is. What else does it say? It's documented and verified the agent that returned my phone call from the FBI hotline told on me to that church before he spoke to me. What else does it say? It's documented and verified I was framed before and it was a drug cartel in my home. What else does it say? It's documented and verified it was fraud, medical malpractice, and medication errors that made me sick before and almost killed me. And the only thing that was wrong with me is my muscles locked up. It's documented and verified another woman was using my insurance, and it was even Dave verified it was one of his girlfriends from before me. He was allowed to do it. What else does it say? It's documented and verified that Melissa was working with a drug cartel. She had her kids lie, trying to help them get away with this, and the kids were taped saying that they made everything up. They were games of pretend, and that they're documenting in games of pretend. It's also documented and verified that even John defended me, that nothing bad ever happened to him. And that he told everybody that I had never hurt anyone. And it's just these people. That he even asked me to babysit his kids as a reliable name on a court record. To pick him up and babysit him when he tried to go for custody, and I couldn't help him because I was working 2 jobs. Lost his kids, moved to Florida years ago. It's also documented and verified they had somebody impersonating. Caught under police surveillance. They also have it documented and verified they were impersonating law enforcement, judges, police, FBI. And this is the whole thing is a fraud scheme. What else does it have documented and verified? That family that was running around town, everyone that offended them, they confessed. They were all lying to the FBI to help them get away with this. They also have it documented and verified that Katie even admitted she was lying. That I was supposed to threaten her. And that she had made it all up because I wouldn't give her the time of day in 2003. When I used to go to that church. And when people found out that she was cheating with my brother-in-law. And that's why I was avoiding her. What else does it say? It has a list of the drug cartels that were involved. Drug dealers. The big arrest. Has a list of the names of the victims they saved. What else does it document and verify? The girl that they were stealing for is a prostitute. And that she's dating the agent that returned my phone call. And it was her dad, that Henry Mavi, is that Pete guy. Dave hired on his own. The one that said he was pulling a fast one on the FBI to steal the case's money. And that they're part of the drug cartel. What else? That an agent stole all that money from the FBI and gave it to her. You're starting to realize. See where I put it up? Do you realize when you open the case, what is in it? That's where I told you, Agent John, I prayed for you. That you were just deep undercover. Because if you're this evil, with there being foreign nationals, and those cartels that were part of this, that's treason. You already got it for espionage, extortion out of government funds, accessory to human trafficking, attempted murder, and everything else. It's my God. Or that idiot woman. I didn't think about them already having all this stuff documented and verified. I know it's an FBI case, but we thought they didn't care a thing about it. The sheriffs have been documenting all this. And the FBI never went. You know, when I go up into Akron, now the Starr County Sheriff's call my case Karen around the house. Up in Akron, investigators call it Karen's Will. Years ago, Karen's Will's here. We all know her case is part of the nationwide human trafficking scam. As the FBI calls it countrywide, where they saved all those people, we were a piece of it. And that cartel and that occult made fools out of everybody in this area. And it's also documented and verified that Michelle that Agent John's dating is one of Katie's family members from that church. You know, yesterday, with those people saying that and all those cars driving by, I gave a statement of how I got sick years ago with all the surgeries, muscles clenching. She's like, well, of course they clench. You had all those surgeries in 2 years. Okay? And then how I went to a bunch of crackpots. They gave me the wrong meds, falsely diagnosed me, whole body swelled up, seizures, heart attack, thyroid, adrenal gland shut down. And they were lying so bad. They were saying I had level 2 pituitary tumors. They were throwing like every diagnosis in the world on me. Then give me a bunch of wrong meds and almost kill me. I go into my community health and they're like, whoa, we need to have a long talk what those doctors are doing. They're known for lying, falsely diagnosing people, ripping them off, making them sick, getting kickbacks from drug companies, and sharing with associates and friends, doing the same thing. Now they want to do unnecessary procedures. The only thing that is wrong with you is your muscles locked up. They've been defrauding you the whole time. Can an attorney assume will represent you in court? They've almost killed you. Term out of state to pull your license. You're not even the first one I've heard of this. Encouraged us to sue him for years. And I told her, I said, we were talking about suing him. I said, and I told her how it took me about 9-10 months to get well. In the middle of me getting well, this very wealthy family, there was a church baseball game that day, and we had kept everybody home. And a member of that church showed up to tell us that they had been killed. He was speeding at a high rate of speed, blew through a stop sign into a semi, killing him and his grandson, both. They were both instantly killed. I said we weren't even there. It was months later I finished getting well. Nothing to do with nothing. I said that Katie, I said my sister is married to that minister's son. She was out in like 21, caught him out with Katie. Started leaving and following him. They're cheating. Had my mom follow him, my sister follow him, they're cheating. She won't say a word. And then we figure, well, she knows they're cheating. It's not our place. Maybe she doesn't think she can support herself. So we'll just stay out of it. So we avoided him. Didn't want to have to be polite conversation acting stupid. Like we didn't know anything. And we can't say anything because we can't put her in that kind of place if she's not ready to do it herself. And I said, but that fool wouldn't quit following him. I said, I don't know why she was kept following him. And she came up in November of 2003 and came up to me and said, I was following again. I got caught. I think they thought it was you. I'm sorry. Be careful. I said, he took my kid and pushed him to suicide and made up that lie, calling me a faker, and it was 4 or 5 years. She said, that's ridiculous. I said, I know it is. And I said, I'd take a retard to believe it. 4 or 5 years through the whole thing. And I said, it took me 9-10 months to get well. And I said, I found out where that family that her father killed her kid was in that office, telling people they were trying to kill me 15 years later with these people because it offended them That strange called me a faker. And those church people were in there. I said, she's like, the audacity of these people. The self-absorbed people. Thinking that they would have a right to harm anybody. And over something that somebody just made up. I said, I know. The self-entitlement. I said, I know, it's crazy. I said, that family even confessed to a federal agent last year. They were all lying, trying to help them get away with it. I said, that girl, Katie, that was dating my brother-in-law, Tim, it's her family member that's supposed to be a prostitute messed up in drugs. That Henry Mafia, I found out, is supposed to be that guy Pete, which is her dad, that Dave hired on his own. And they're the ones that ran the scam on me, and it's her family. She's like, you're kidding. I said, no. I said, it's that bad. And that's why they were all in there lying to help Katie's family. Trying to steal from the government. When you realize what's going on, it's not funny. Then you got to think. That agent recorded line is so damning, it's ridiculous. Where I called the hotline, because it is document verified, the agent that returned my phone call from the hotline was the one telling on me to that church, where he talked to me. Someone told on me, you liar, and it's him. I tell him about the guy that threatened to knife me, calls me a liar, starts screaming about a camera above the bench. I don't know, and I tell him why he tried to kidnap me before. You liar. Even if a church person seen him, they wouldn't verify it. That's why I didn't tell him about Terry Coberly. And she did verify it. And I met with those church people in my office. And that family that lost their kid in a traffic accident, the ones that confessed they were all lying to help Katie's family get away with us, yeah. And I know they're trying to kill you because a stranger's liar called me a faker, okay? Because you were faking you were sick. It's like, look, I really was sick, you liar. Was there a camera above the bench or not? I don't know. Say you're lying, I'll put you in jail. I'm going to come up and arrest you. You better say you're lying. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, fine, whatever. Like they said, he sounds like pure evil. He sounds Satan possessed. He said, I want you to say you were faking you were sick. Well, that's ridiculous. I almost died. I said, I really was sick before, you liar. How he met with that family in his office, all those church people, knew they were trying to kill me because of that lie of strangers. I said, I really was sick before. You need to realize what you've done, and I don't blame him for trying to kill you. He actually says that. Conspiracy and attempt to murder is a federal crime. They confessed to a federal agent they were trying to kill me. Why didn't he arrest them? Exactly. All right. He said, you either say it or I'll leave you there. Say you're faking or I'll leave you there. I said, I really was sick before. You liar. Now say you were faking or I'll leave you there. But they're going to kill me, so. They've tried to kill me, so. He said, say it or I'll leave you there. It's like, fine, just don't let him kill me. Ha, 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 ha. Why would that be? I help a person like you. Well, they're going to try to kill me, so. They've tried to kill me, so. The other agent, this is where it's damning. We could always use Pete's tape of weird with yourself. Who's Pete? His girlfriend's dad. It's a drug dealer. So did he know it was photoshopped? Yeah. Because like his girlfriend said, they hired drug dealers to do it to me. And they photoshopped watching in the shower in the other room. think of that? June 26, 26, in front of a bunch of sheriffs. Stark County sheriffs know it. She said it. Want you to think about them. I said, what are you talking about? I don't even know who. I thought, the only Pete I knew was my brother and Benina. Hadn't seen him in years, talked to him on the phone. I thought, why are you laying on my brother? And he's like, stop, she now. He knew I didn't know. That's where it's sick. Because it's photoshopped. He's part of the scam. He says something else. He knows I don't know him. And I said, what are you talking about? Black and Blue Marks, the Ruby Confessions beatings. Yeah. And he said, well, I bet you're going to say you don't know anything about the psychiatrist for sexual disorders or why your brother. That's disgusting. At that point, I had to catch my breath. I almost yelled at him, why don't you stop lying? And I thought, why had some other lady use my insurance? Maybe it's one of hers. Here it's that guy Pete, his girlfriend's dad, pretending to be a doctor. That's where it was so not funny or funny when he confessed he never met me in person. He's supposed to be the dirty doctor from before, impersonating one. Get the idea? And he knew it. I said, I don't know who you're talking about or what. That's disgusting. You know what? I don't think they're funny running this con on me. He said, give me a real reason why the FBI should help a person like you. Like I'm second-class citizen, a victim calling for help. See, that's how that church people talk about people. A person like you. Like you're second class. Because you're not as good as them. Get the idea? And I told him about my brother-in-law, Craig, died working for the government. He said, well, first of all, have you talked to any law enforcement about threats on your life? I said, the only 2 officers I've ever talked to up here. I call them silly or stupid. We only had 3 cameras on the outside our house. Nothing on the inside. Front porch, back porch, side yard. Okay? Nothing on the inside. In August of 18, we had a light in the security system. I called 911. Okay? Midnight. They came out. They were silly. They told me it looked like an alien orb, angry spirit. Told me to buy a dog and let a dog handle it if it happened again. You're kidding, right? I said, no, matter of fact, I've never even had my neighbors in my home. I've only had family repair guys and those 2 silly officers. Family repair guys, installation guys, and those 2 silly officers. Is that what's going on? Yes. It's like, yes. He said, do you know if Dave's cheating? I said, I've never caught him. He starts laughing. She said she never caught him. December 9th, 18. Dave verified I never caught him with anyone. He said, well, I could take you somewhere and leave you with no money. I don't have money to start. Well, if you agree to get information on Dave and the churches, I can open an informant program. Comes with so much a month. And he said, I said, I can do that. He's loading the money on the card. He said, you'll have a life of peace as an informant. Nothing legally stated, dated against you again, and only for you and only for you. What do we do this for? We'll always put it back as if it never happened. And you can't be legally charged for anything again for working this case. You have that money to live on. And he said, admit to no wrongdoing and I'll take care of everything in the end. But if you try to tell anybody, I'll tell people you're crazy, the FBI won't help you. But if you need help, the chief of police, the Canton's my best friend, he'll make sure the Canton police always protect you. What's wrong with this statement? Walter Moss used to work at the Stark County Prosecutor's Office. He laughed till he had tears. Only thing legal he did on that whole phone call was list you an informant with money and immunity. You get money and immunity for the rest of your life. If you work 5 minutes a case or the whole case, you risk your life to get the government information they owe you. That agent doesn't have the authority to ask you to stay quiet. It's illegal. Police know that and they can't go along with it. It's blackmail. No judge could ever sign that court order taking your freedom of speech away. They'd be signing their own arrest warrant. And he can't bully you into false statements. And he can't tell anybody they can't help you. That's illegal. What is a jail sentence for an FBI agent? If he tells an informant if they say anything, they won't get their money, it's blackmail. Obstruction, tampering with a witness. Extortion out of government funds. 20 life. What's the jail sentence for a judge signing it? Same. What's the jail sentence for a judge if they would sign that if you said anything, you wouldn't have protection? 20 life. It's attempted murder. Aiding and abetting crimes, obstruction. Tampering with a witness, same for an agent. They can't say it. Freedom of speech to the First Amendment. No, under the color of the law, no one can take your rights away. They can't take your freedom of speech away. Only time a judge can put a gag order on you is during a jury trial. And that's it. Other proceedings are over. That's it. Can't sign up for anything else. And that's where Walter said, you don't even realize you're in one of the witness protection programs, Karen. Informants are different. You're not only in a witness protection program, but a threat and attempt to life case. If you want to put an attempt to murder. Want to put it that way? And you can never get out. You don't even realize you can never get out. The Department of Justice put the FBI in jail. These people try to kill you and they could wait and try to kill you again. You'll be in a witness protection program your whole life. You will get paid for the rest of your life and you'll be in immunity the rest of your life for risking your life to help the government get information on those people and they owe you. And the only way the FBI can move you to another witness protection program is if they talk to you first and you agree. Otherwise, you stay an informant for life. And that agent cannot withhold your money. He cannot misdirect it. That's extortion out of government funds. You do realize that. Now, I want you to start thinking about this. He was dating the people that were dating the girl they were setting the con up to steal for. He was scamming the government itself. That's how not funny this is. And now with him running around trying to get the surveillance thrown out, and where they started in 19, there's a big legal loophole. He told on her. You don't have the authority to ask her stay quiet. It's a big loophole. Then they kept doing it through the years, and last year they were coming for the case. They were going to get the case thrown out because that agent defrauded me. And they either stand up for the case and pay her, or we'll have it thrown out and have every drug dealer released. And let them sue for tens of millions of dollars for false arrest and fraud because they were defrauding her. Talk to Walter. They can. Every informant has to be paid. They have to stand up for their own case. That's where they said the drug dealers will die laughing. They're going to sue for tens of millions of dollars each. It's going to cost the government $10 to $25 billion if they don't pay me. I researched everything on how it could get thrown out. Okay? Trying to save the case. Because those are serial killers that are going to be released back into society. They sue for that much money. Walter said they can sue for that false arrest. For that amount of money each. It will cost the government $10 to $25 billion. Gas prices will be like $10 a gallon. Your groceries will be 3 times as much. Now, then think of all the lives of the people that will die and be taken again. I want you to think. That's where it's like, well, how else could it get thrown out of the informant's mistreated? That's where I thought, well, how can we counteract his fraud? And I thought, well, if I sign a statement, I was willing to stay up there while they surveillance me, willing to risk my life while they got surveillance on these people, knowing I was risking my life, personal injury, and harm while I was staying up there, but still willing to stay. If I'm a willing worker facing all that and knowledge that I was facing it, okay, knowing my First Amendment right, that agent was only bullying me, doesn't have the authority to ask me to stay quiet, and the FBI, that agency would be paying me and compensating me themselves, that I work for them, not him, okay? It would take it out of them defrauding me and victimizing me to a willing worker. You know, investigators that have showed up and said, you know, I wish the FBI would take your offer because it will work. It'll take him out of what he did of defrauding her to a willing, knowledgeable worker that's being paid and compensated. It takes it out of fraud. Even investigators said, we wish they'd take her offer. I can't make them. And then other people, we can't even believe she'd even offer to help them. Well, it's still their FBI. And see, that's where they're running around to different police. I found out they're going to police departments, different counties. He's telling everybody there was no one around me and calling me a liar. Do you realize how dumb he is? All they have to do is subpoena the case. And what does it have documented in there? Of, oh my God. Good idea. Because we're the cartels that helped out in this. And that's a game of who pays for the harassment. Judge Peters Group, the Kingsmen from Texas, Buffalo, New York, Michigan, California, Georgia, North and South Carolina. There's a guy from Pennsylvania and one from Tennessee. And the cartels getting information on all those people, following all those people back. Saved hundreds. They told Tuscarawas County that they got a lot of big drug dealers off of this. And they saved a lot of people. Okay? Now, where he was down there, tell him there was no one. He's lying. All they have to do is subpoena the case, and then it's an, oh my Lord, this is part of the nationwide human trafficking scam. And then his crimes. They can deal with him themselves. Get the idea. Yesterday, where that guy said, there's a lady that has a list of names of people that want money for saying they were offended when Strange called her a faker and other things they want money for. You tell them to all say they don't want any money, take their name off the list, or they're going to end up in jail. I know they signed their own arrest warrant. That lady's tricking them. You do realize that. If they don't make that list go away, really damn quick, they're all going to jail. Because they just signed who was all involved. May 30th, 25, Louisville, police were outside with the lady, 1 o'clock in the morning. Said, I didn't think she was smart enough to know surveillance laws. I was going to trick her out of a bunch of money. Found out she knew the surveillance laws. Tricking Melissa and Dixie to put their name on it. And I'm going to arrest them. She won't be around to find a law to stop me. So with that lady with the list, what is she doing? She's tricking you to put your name on it. See, they told people years ago, you can't put your name on the tapes before without going to jail for them. Get life. get the idea. She's tricked all those people. He says, you tell all those people to tell that lady to take their name off that list. They don't want anything. They're never going to get a dime. It's a trick. See, everything these people do, I Google what is a jail sentence for it, and they're federal crimes. And they're so dumb. They won't stop. 10 most stupidest criminals in the world. I'm going to go ahead and upload this.